How's it going, everybody? So, I just finished a 2.5 mile run or so, and it kind of triggered something in me to want to talk about the importance. I know I talk about the mind and the spirit a lot, but I want to go into the body and talk about how maintaining a healthy body will both linked with a healthy mind and spirit, and it generally just makes everything easier, really. Now, you don't have to be an ultra marathon runner, or you don't have to go out and run miles a day or walk for 20 plus miles in a day in order to experience the benefits of a healthy body. One of the main things that you could do for yourself is to cut out processed foods, cut out trans fats and any sort of unhealthy carbohydrates. And these are just 3D kind of aspects. Another thing that you could do is to get outside and literally just walk around a little bit every day. So just start walking and make sure it's like outside. I mean, you can go walk on a treadmill if you want to, but for me, it's much more enjoyable to go outside, even on super cloudy days like this, where it's like a little bit rainy. It's still more enjoyable for me to go outside and to experience the changing scenery as I'm moving. And also, it kind of gives me a sense of accomplishment too, because I get to go from one place to another. And one of the things about doing training like this is that a lot of people think of it as hard work, and it is hard work in a way, but for me, I was never a runner before. I didn't used to go running a lot before all this awakening stuff. I've just recently, within the past, say, few weeks, started having past life regressions of past lives of being runners. And then all of a sudden I started having total body awareness happen, where through past life regressions, breath work, constant prayer and meditation, I've been remembering how to use my body in new ways and how to bring alignment to myself. And I'll show you guys this as well. I'll make another video here in just a minute where I show you guys like the body movement and total body awareness and what that looks like. But point being is that once you start to tap into this stuff, like for me, I have past lives of being yogi and doing breath work and doing a lot of meditation and body training, where for one lifetime I would work fully on my body and be one of the most fit, healthy people on the planet. And then another one I would work on my mind and meditation and stillness. And I would just do that. Point being though is that you remember, after a minute, you start to remember the lessons that you learned in these lifetimes. And it comes in the form of literally like your body will just start to move in specific ways. And then your mind will be like, I haven't recognized that movement before. And that's not something that you normally would do. I almost tripped a little bit. But your mind is like, well, actually, technically your mind's more like, I do recognize this movement, but it's something that this body has never done. And then when that happens, there's like information that flows with that as well, where it kind of shows like if you perform the movement of the body in a specific way, then it triggers mind activity where your mind understands why you are making all the movements that you're making. So like for me, understanding my total body awareness has made it to where I can look at another person, and through their body language and their movements and the way that they move their body, I can see the lessons and the way that this person has learned to grow just based on the way that they hold themselves and move their body. And I wasn't able to do that before because I wasn't aware of my own body. But once I became aware of my body more and I started having total body awareness, I started recognizing these small, subtle cues where when you balance yourself and you move yourself into a centered space where you become able to see, basically what happens is all of your movements become conscious movements. It's things that you wanted to do. So instead of twitching and like looking around and like having these kind of like nose touches and scratches and like all these different cues of uncomfortability, of insecurity, of also an unawareness of the body, but also uncontrolled mind. See, that was one of them too. It's like, yes, I had an itch on my head, but that was also a subconscious body movement that happened because my mind slowed down for a second as I was trying to pull up a topic or something, and then hesitated, and then in that hesitation my body responded by doing something in order to dissipate that energy. And that's part of the body awareness. You see what I mean? So it's like, these are the things that are flowing through my mind as I'm like watching other people move. So it's like, I'll see other people and they'll be like doing these things where they're like moving and looking around and touching and all this other stuff, where they're like biting their nails or doing whatever they're doing. And through all of these different movements, and I know those are all just nervous tics that I was talking about, but it's also through general body movement as well, where when people walk slunched over, or they walk looking down, left, right, up, like it all means different things. You can pick up information through literally any movement, because the entire concept, or the entire like archetype of whatever it is that they're thinking about at that moment is visible through their body language. The stillness of somebody's mind is visible by the way that they hold themselves and move their body. The mind stills itself as the body stills itself. As the body and the mind become more still, the spirit becomes visible. The spirit is only visible in stillness, but it is constant change. Spirit is the substance of everything, including the substance of nothing. The mind is the formless dimension of consciousness, formed through thought. So the mind is a form of consciousness without physicality. The body is a form of consciousness without mentality. The mind and the body together make a direct connection to spirit, because when the mind and the body merge truly, then the spirit is shown, because it shows that there's no disconnection between the mind and the body. The body being material, physical, but without any mental, and then the mind being pure mental without any physical. When they merge together and are seen as one and are able to both be sat in at the same time with equal awareness, the spirit becomes visible, because you see that the visible and the invisible are both one and the same thing. You see that mind and body are just two avenues to connect to spirit. And you see that spirit is the only real thing, because the mind dissolves at death. The body dissolves at death. You look at mind activity, when you think specific things, or you go into a complex of thought activity, all of a sudden you create a sensation, a feeling inside of yourself. That feeling is a form, a created form. And when you give energy to that thought, then you create using your thoughts. You become a creator, an active creator. When you start creating, what happens is that you build form out of formlessness, but you observe it in nothing. Have you ever noticed when you imagine a scene, there's nothing that is observing. There's nothing that the scene is being projected from. It's just being observed. That scene in the mind is just as real as this physical scene in physical reality. It's just in a different form of consciousness. But any experience that you have is experienced in spirit. Experience itself is the essence of spirit and mind and body being expressed through everything. I know this is like a tangent rant kind of thing almost, but like I feel like it's sending messages behind the words. So like as I'm speaking, like I'm not really thinking per se. I'm just kind of speaking whatever it is that's coming to my mind. But I feel as though concepts are being communicated behind that are much more powerful than whatever it is that I'm kind of just saying. Because I may be saying the same things over and over again, but conveying a different message every time. Anyways, so going back to total body awareness as well. For me, the more that I get better at moving my body, the more it gets to a point where my body feels as though it's weightless. It feels like it moves itself. It feels like sometimes I'm just sitting here watching as my body is doing things. And as I'm running, I'm watching my body, but it's like I'm not even there. It's like I'm just watching, like it's no longer do I get caught up in my breath, or do I get caught up in my pain in my body while I'm running or any of these things. What happens is that it all dissolves, and then all of a sudden you're just there and you're just observing all of the stuff that's around you. And that meditative boom, 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 just constant like up and down motion is what kind of brings you into that space. Same with walking too. It's just not as intense. Sometimes running will bring you really deeply into it. Walking will too, if you walk for long times, like for miles and miles at a time. But I know a lot of people are not willing or ready to do that, or don't have the time of the day, or feel as though they don't have the time of the day. I mean, for me, time, first of all, is an illusion. It's malleable. If you can learn how to use time correctly, then all of a sudden one moment becomes like 1,000 moments to you, and you're able to do 1,000 times the amount of things that a normal person would be able to do in one moment in your consciousness, is what I mean. All right, I think that's good for right now. I hope y'all have a wonderful day.